Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Good morning. Today is November 27th, 2022. We welcome you to New York Buddhist Church's live streaming service, broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. We'll start today's service with quiet sitting. Please sit up straight, gently calm your mind, and follow your breath. Begin with JØ-SEI-GE, Reaffirming the Vows, Tan Nembutsu and Ekoku Transference, on page 55, followed by Vandana and Tisarana, page 7. Following the chant, we will recite Jodo Shinshu Pledge 2 in English, page 6, and in Japanese, page 5. Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula will then share today's Dharma message. We'll end the service by singing Gatha's Ondokusan 2 on page 134 and Nembutsu, page 135. Namo Amida Butsu.
Show
Please stand for Vandana and Tisarana.
Please be seated. Everyone, please turn to page 6 in your service book, and we will read together the Jodo Shinshu Pledge 2 in English, and then we will read the Japanese on page 5. Shinshu Pledge 2. Entrusting in the vow of the Buddha and reciting the sacred name, I shall proceed through the journey of life with strength and joy, revering the light of the Buddha and reflecting upon my imperfect self. I shall strive to live a life of gratitude, following the teachings of the Buddha and discerning the right path. I shall spread the true Dharma, rejoicing in the compassion of the Buddha, respecting and aiding others. I shall do my best to work towards the welfare of society. Jodo Shinshu no Sekatsu Shinjo. 一つ、 Mihotoke no chikai o shinji, Totoi mina o tonai tsusu, Tsuyoku akaruku ikinukimasu. Shitotsu. Mihotoke no hikari o elgi, Sune ni wagami o kare mite, Kansho no uchi ni hagemimasu. Shitotsu. Mihotoke no oshie ni shitakai, Tadashi nichi no kikiwakete, Makoto no minori wo harumimasu. Shitotsu. Mihotoke no megumi o yorokobi, Tagai ni uyamai, Tasakei, Shakai no tami ni tsukushimasu. Namandatsu. 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 Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you all here today. So today's speaker is our own Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula. So someone who needs no introduction. So enjoy his talk. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Had too much to eat, all that stuff. But here we are once again. And so for today, I'm going to do a little bit of Thanksgiving, but a little bit of other stuff too. So we're going to follow, I'm going to read from Shinran. Okay, this is Shinran quoting Master Shandao. The Dharma gates, each district, number 84,000. But the keen blade for severing ignorance, its effects, and the karmic causes of suffering is the name of Amida. In a single utterance, one's karmic evil is completely swept away. Gone are the countless traces of past karma and the designing thoughts arising from them. Even without being instructed, we turn and enter the gate of suchness, gaining freedom from long kalpas of suffering in this Saha world is above all the benevolence of Shakyamuni, the true teacher. Using various skillful means, carefully devised, he selected the gate of Amida's universal vow and enabled us to enter it. Namo Amidavits, Namo Amidavits, Namo Amidavits. So this is something we hear a lot, that the selected primal vow. And on Thanksgiving, it's sort of nice to think that, to be thankful for that, especially, that this way has been selected for us. Although it sounds like some being in another quarter has designed something. But actually, this is something going on in our teaching, via wisdom and compassion, we're taught to recite the name. Just rely on the name. The name is the answer, the name is the source, the name is the ultimate goal. Okay? So, but, look, so it's a great cosmic principle. And it should bring us to a feeling of, if not gratitude, peace. Peace, because, we hear in our Gobunsho, in our various teachings, once you realize, the name, how the name works, you should just say it with gratitude. This is Renyo hammers away at that. And many people feel, well, I don't feel gratitude. So that means I have to, what, am I doing it wrong? But I'm going to just say, hold that thought. It's not about that. That isn't the right question. That isn't the right way to see it. Think of, in one sense, this selected primal vow that all who call on the name of Amida Buddha with a sincere heart and mind will be brought without fail to the land of bliss, that could be understood as, it's a cosmic principle for us, but it could also be understood as an upaya. You know what an upaya is? Upaya is skillful means. You've heard the story so some teachings are skillful means. They're not the ultimate teachings. They're designed to lure you in, sort of, or that doesn't sound right, but to help you cross over and then really deepen your understanding. And, we know the story of the burning house from the Lotus Sutra. And that's told in our tradition as well. The house is burning down. Father comes home. The children are in the house. He doesn't know how to get the kids to come out of the house. So he doesn't say, look, there's a fire, because they're not into that. So he says, no, I have toys, I have ponies for all of you, but you have to come out of the house. And then they come out, and the house burns down, and they're fine. That's upaya. That's upaya. It's not the ultimate understanding, but it's the way to begin your own journey. So there is a sense, since Namu Amida Butsu contains not only all the profound things, but even some of the provisional things, in a distilled form, we can understand Namu Amida Butsu as upaya, as skillful means. We have to really think about how profound the compassion of the Buddha was for sentient beings, or is, if you look at it that way. The Pure Land is a place where ordinary beings can be enlightened, not only great sages. And the Nembutsu, or the name, is both the bridge to get there as well as the ultimate destination. Quoting from Shandao, or Zendo, Shinran explains the nature of the name in two parts. Namu means to take refuge. It further signifies the aspiring for birth and directing of virtue. Amida Butsu is the practice. Because of this import, Shinran says, one necessarily attains birth. So the aspiration and the practice are unified in Namu Amida Butsu. And it cannot fail. One must attain birth. And that's Shinran quoting Shandao. So it's an old teaching. Shinran further comments, from these passages, we see that the word Namu means to take refuge. In the term take refuge, kimyo, ki means arrive at. Further, it is used in compounds to mean to yield joyfully to, kietsu, and to take shelter in, kisai. Myo means to act, to invite, to command, to teach, path, message, to devise, to summon. Thus, kimyo is the command of the primal vow, calling to and summoning us. Aspiring for birth and directing virtue indicates the mind of the Tathagata, who, having already established the vow, gives sentient beings the practice necessary for their birth. This practice is the selected primal vow. So that whole
thing, that was from Shinran also, quoting Shandao.
So the primal vow might be, described in ordinary terms as the resolve of the Buddha to renounce enlightenment itself unless everyone can have a share in it. To make this happen, Amida Buddha selected saying the name out of 84,000, which is a Buddhist way of saying a vast number, one for each person, of Dharma gates. So there's 84,000 Dharma gates, one for each of us, because we are all unique. But within those 84,000, there's this one too, Namo Amida Butsu. It's very significant because it works. It works for everybody. The selection of something easy that most can do is the use of upaya or skillful means, because behind the simplicity, there is something very, very profound. Indeed, the most profound thing in the world, according to the Jodo Shinshu way of thinking. Many years ago, I had a teacher Reverend Ryuta Furumoto, who we were talking about this passage, and he said, the most excellent practice is to attain enlightenment, and it should be easy and accessible for everyone. If the practice is difficult, only a few people can practice. If the practice itself is not excellent, the few people might be excellent elite, but the teaching or the practice is not very skillful. Nembutsu practice, he said, and this was back when this was just invented. Nembutsu practice is like an iPad. I don't know if you remember when the commercial first came out and they had the four-year-old doing things that, we were just amazed. I mean, I couldn't do them. Now we do it, but in those days it was unthinkable. It's like an iPad. Elderly people, children, computer experts, or anyone can use it. And he says the gadget itself is of very high quality. So in an iPad and the Nembutsu, behind the simplicity, there is something very profound. So the iPad is this complicated machine. I mean, there's a lot that goes on. I mean, we could say that about almost literally everything. When we flip the lights on, there's a whole technology, world system of energy and electricity that have to be in place for that to work. But we take it completely for granted. You don't have to know how the light works to turn the lights on. All you have to do is flip the switch. And in that sense, he's saying, the Nembutsu is like that. Is like that. It's like an iPad. It's like the light switch. It's like many, many things that we take totally for granted. There is design, but you don't need to know the design. But the point is, if you want to know, you can spend the rest of your life learning about it. It's not like, don't ask how that works. That isn't the point. But you don't need to know. That's why it's the path for all ordinary people. In Shinran's teaching, the recitation of the name of the Buddha is not a self-directed, repetitive practice, right? It is hearing of Amida's primal vow, and it's calling out to us. It's beyond mere language. Namo, in this understanding, is an actual summons by the Buddha. It says, I take refuge, but think of it as a summons by the Buddha to each person in his or her own ordinary life to rise up and participate in enlightenment. Nothing less. Not learn more, not get 4 degrees. Now. It is Dharmakara Bodhisattva's aspiration for enlightenment transferred to any who hear or perceive. And I hope all of us hear and perceive. The second part of Nembutsu, Amidabutsu, is described above by Shandao as the practice. So Amidabutsu is not this guy in the West, might be that too, but it's the practice. Shinran Shonin tells us that the practice is the selected primal vow. Shinran seems to be saying that practice is the transformation of Dharmakara Bodhisattva into Amida Buddha. Dharmakara is enlightened precisely because he shares it with all other beings. Amida's primal vow promised this sharing will be completely fulfilled in others. The Jodo Shinshu understanding is that Amida, through this vow, is confident that all who hear it can receive the heart of a Buddha in Namo Amida Butsu. The heart of a Buddha. I'm very, very grateful myself that I have heard Shinran's teaching of Namo Amida Butsu. It transformed my own, inner life by explaining so many things that I'm no longer worried about, like what will happen after death. I still very much fear suffering and pain, but not death itself or what comes afterwards. When Shinran learned of the selected vow from his teacher Honen, he was moved to the core of his being. He was so convinced of the truth of this teaching that he said many years later in Tanisho that even if the Nembutsu were to lead him directly into hell, he would continue to follow what Honen said because hell was his only home. That's how strong he felt. Anyway, so incapable was he of following other practices after understanding it. This is the personal truth that I think the Buddha has for each of us. It was Shakyamuni's most important teaching, and it is the cause of birth in the Pure Land for countless people. It has been over the centuries since Buddha, and it will be for eons to come. It was passed down through the 7 masters, through Shinran, and now from Shinran to us, through the Jodo Shinshu teachers and practitioners today. And so I think we should be grateful for that, but not grateful like, oh yeah, I'm really grateful. It's like you're alive. That's all that's really necessary in Namo Amida Butsu. It isn't to change your ways. I'm not grateful. I have to do something to become grateful. No. Just say the name, Namo Amida Butsu, and live your life and do your best. It will come out of you. Your life will change in a fundamental way. So, in that sense, we can all be grateful. And I hope everybody has had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's a perfect Buddhist holiday, isn't it? And it's the one we don't have to torture so much to celebrate. And let's bow our heads and say what or meditate on Shinran. The Dharma gates, each distinct, number 84,000. But the keen blade for severing ignorance, its effects, and the karmic causes of suffering is the name of Amida. In a single utterance, one's karmic evil is completely swept away. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So thanks for listening. See you next time.
So we will now have our Gathas. Which are
134, 135.
134, page 134, and 135. Everyone please rise.
Ondokusan too.
Please rise.
Nembutsu on page 135. Namandabs. Please be seated. All righty. So soon we will come to our end of service. So I'd like to ask, are there any first-time visitors here today? We have one. Could you please stand and introduce yourself so that we might welcome you? Tell us how you came to be here today.
Hi, my name's Anthony DeMarco. I live in the neighborhood and was passing by yesterday and saw the sign outside and wanted to partake.
Thank you, Anthony. I hope you enjoyed the service, and welcome. So I'd like to thank today our greeter, Ruth Funai and Hiroki Hasegawa. And the music today was played by John Skelly. Thank you, John. And as always, our superb technical team, David Brady and Carl Palma, who bring the Dharma to our virtual Sangha. And I'd also like to give a deep bow of gratitude and thanks to Reverend Gary Shobo Jaskula for sharing with us the words of Shinran, and for whom the idea of gratitude, something is not, we should not take for granted. It is truly a feeling that cannot be expressed in words, goes very deep within us as Shin Buddhists. So let's see, do we have any announcements? Any announcements? All right, I have two announcements. In addition to any special services that may be coming up in December, in January 1st, December 30th, and January 1st, we will be having our Jodo-A and Shusho-A services. New Year's Eve service will be at 7 p.m., and New Year's Day service will be at 11:30 a.m. as usual. And we'll let you know what else might take place around that time. It's still in the planning stages a bit. And also in January 11th, 17th? What is the date of the ceremony? 15th. Thank you very much. My brain is still recovering from an overload of food. So anyway, on January 15th, we're privileged to welcome Bishop Marvin Harada, who is the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America. He will be coming here to New York Buddhist Church to give Dharma talk and also to conduct a kiyashiki, which is a Buddhist name conferring ceremony. So if you are interested in getting a Buddhist name and reconfirming your dedication to this path, yes, we may do it while we're still alive. This is not something that is only for the deceased. It's wonderful to have a Buddhist name because it provides some insight, some more insight for us. I consider mine an aspiration. But they are chosen. You can pick one of the characters, but we do have a form that you need to fill out and get back to us by December 4th. And yeah, you can pick one of the characters or give us a little insight into what is most meaningful for you that you might wish to include in your Homyo, your Buddhist name. So this is not a ceremony which is performed often. We have to request it ahead of time, and it's a wonderful opportunity. So I hope you will possibly join us for that. So if you're interested, you can go to our website and look on the front page, and I think there's a link there. Okay, so thank you so much. And I think that's it. Any other announcements? Oh my goodness, yes. I knew there was one. And considering I invited the guest speaker, I shouldn't be forgetting it. In December, we're honored for Bodhi Day to be welcoming Khenpo Lama Pema Wangdak, who is the founder of the Vikramasila Foundation and the Palden Shakya group. He is a teacher in the Shakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. He is very learned. His English is exemplary. And it's wonderful to welcome him as a speaker for our Bodhi Day service. So I hope that you will join us for that. He'll share a little bit about Shakyamuni and enlightenment and why this is so significant for us. So that's it, I think, for today. Anything else? Anyone else? All righty. Well, most of all, we appreciate you. We appreciate your coming here. We appreciate you partaking of the service. It makes it meaningful for all of us to join our voices together in Nembutsu. And happy Thanksgiving. Every day should be Thanksgiving for us as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, even though it's really hard to do. But we're always reminded when we say the name that it is possible. It is possible for us. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.